Welcome to The Explainer. You know that feeling when your brain is like a browser with just way too many tabs open? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. Today we're diving into Tamara Rosier's book, Your Brain's Not Broken. We're going to look at why the ADHD brain works so differently and, even better, uncover some really powerful tools to help manage its unique wiring. Okay, so to kick things off, let's dive into an experience that, well, it might feel incredibly familiar to a lot of you. So this is a quote from someone in the book named Christine, and it just perfectly captures that feeling of chaos inside your own head. It's not just, one single thought. It's this constant barrage, reminders, new ideas, worries, all screaming for your attention at the exact same time. So, does that feel familiar? That sensation of all your thoughts just colliding? Of being totally overwhelmed by this, invisible, never-ending to-do list that just lives inside your head? If any of that resonates with you, I promise you are so not alone. And that feeling, it's hard to be me, the book makes it so clear that this isn't an exaggeration. It's a reality for so many people. I mean, when your brain is constantly going, constantly pinging like that, everyday tasks, they're not just difficult, they can feel completely impossible. So what is actually going on here? Is it a character flaw, a lack of willpower? Well, the book argues no, it's none of that. It's something much deeper, a fundamental difference in how the brain is actually wired. And this right here, this is really the core message of the whole book. It's a huge shift in perspective. It's about moving away from that feeling of being flawed or broken and moving toward understanding that your brain just, well, it runs on a completely different operating system. Okay, so this slide does a great job of breaking down these differences. Think of it as a tale of two brains. The neurotypical brain, it's often driven by what's important, but the ADHD brain, it's all about what's interesting. And emotions, for a neurotypical brain, it's kind of like a dimmer switch, You can dial it up or down. But for the ADHD brain, it's much more like a light switch. It's either on or it's off. And that butler in the prefrontal cortex, the part that's supposed to be calmly organizing everything, yeah, for the ADHD brain, he's often, well, let's just say he's taken an unscheduled vacation. And this all really boils down to one key concept, the interest-based nervous system. So what does that mean? It means that for the ADHD brain, motivation doesn't come from something being important or a priority or because of future consequences. Nope. Motivation sparks because of genuine interest, a fun new challenge, or, let's be real, a last-minute crisis. So, okay. Once you really get that your motivation system is just different, you can stop fighting against your own nature. You can actually start working with it. And that's where we get into hacking your motivation. The problem is, way too often, we end up relying on what the book calls malicious motivators. You know what I'm talking about? Using anxiety as fuel, procrastinating until there's a crisis, feeling shame, or even getting angry just to push through something. And look, it might work for a little while, but it is so draining. It's just not sustainable. But there is a better way. And this is why having a new toolkit is so essential. Instead of trying to force motivation, the book suggests we start analyzing tasks through the ADHD brain's natural lens, which is, of course, interest and emotion. And here it is. This is the Solve It grid. And honestly, this thing is a total game changer. It helps you categorize tasks not by what you think you should be doing, but by how they actually feel. Is it fun or not fun? Is the emotional intensity high or is it low? This simple framework can help you finally understand why you're drawn to certain things and just can't stand others. And each of these quadrants affects your energy, your internal battery, in a different way. So red tasks, that's the urgent, stressful stuff. You get a big rush, but it leads straight to burnout. Yellow tasks, that's the boring, repetitive stuff. It feels awful, but it actually only drains your energy slowly. Blue tasks are for slow recharges, think, scrolling on your phone. But green, that's your happy place. That's the fun, high-intensity stuff, and it's the absolute fastest way to get your energy back. Okay, so managing your energy is one piece of the puzzle. But what about managing your moment-to-moment emotional state? Well, the book has another really powerful tool for that, which brings us to climbing the emotional ladder. Yeah, how do you manage your emotional state from one moment to the next? It's a huge question. And to help answer it, the book introduces a really cool model called the ADHD Emotional Health Ladder. It's basically a way to check in with yourself at any given moment and see where you're at. So just think of your emotional state like the rungs on a ladder. At the top, at level 1, you're present and calm.
But maybe you've slipped down to level 3, where you're just running on autopilot. Or maybe you're even down at level 4 or 5, in pure survival mode, just trying to get through the day. The magic here is that just knowing which rung you're on helps you understand why you're reacting a certain way, and it gives you the power to consciously choose to climb back up.
All right, so we've got this new way of understanding our brain, our motivation, and our emotional state. The big question now is, what do we do with all this information? How do we put it into practice?
I love this. The book uses this really powerful metaphor from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So many people with ADHD feel like they're living on the island of misfit toys, like they're different, and because they're different, they must be broken. The whole point of this is to shed that label for good and start recognizing your own unique value.
And this really is the ultimate call to action, right? You are the main character. You get to move from feeling like just a side character in this story of constant struggle to becoming the author of your own life. And now you're armed with strategies that actually work for your brain, not against it.
And that really is the final powerful takeaway. This whole journey, it isn't about fixing a broken brain. It's about learning how to work with a brain that's just wired differently. Once you have that self-knowledge, once you have the right tools, you're the one holding the pen. So the only question left is, what story are you going to write?